Hello and welcome to this little video where today I'm going to be reading from this chapter, Sam Spallucci, Dark Justice. This was the fourth outing for my investigator of the paranormal, Sam Spallucci, and it sees him pitted against the rogue king of the vampires, Justice. Now, before I carry on, please hit that like, give us a subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And so we'll plough on. We are in like halfway through the book, and this is where Sam first encounters the titular vampire. To the side of the cycle path that had been laying over the remains of an old railway line was the dirtiest, scruffiest shambles of a building that I'd ever clapped eyes on. It's not very big, is it? It would not need to be, Marcus commented, drawing up parallel to me. His eyes surveyed the riot of spray paint that adorned the shack's walls. It would appear that the youths of Lancaster are somewhat of a penis fixation. Either that or very poor at drawing space rockets. In my experience, Nightingale mused, they're not very good at drawing male genitalia either. She gave a quick laugh, then suddenly her nose wrinkled up. Oh, dear God, what is that awful smell? I sniffed and glanced over my shoulder. It's the plastics factory. I think they make acrylic there. The acrid aroma slapped the inside of my nose as I joined Nightingale in a bit of nasal origami, as I tried in vain to shut it out. It's not that pleasant, is it? Not that pleasant. Damn it, burns my senses. Sam, our sense of smell is far more heightened than yours, being hunters. I nodded in understanding. I see what you mean. Well, I don't think we need to enjoy it any longer. Marcus was studying the door to the small building. This is locked. I don't think the Justice has been using it. I'm sure that the erstwhile owners have not deigned to lend our errant king a key. Nightingale seemed to agree, but something did not sit right with me. Spud had been quite sure about Justice having been seen around here, and this would have made a perfect location for him to hide himself during daylight hours. I approached the door and lifted the padlock. It left a slick on the palm of my hand. I lowered my nose to the keyhole and gave a cautious sniff. Smell this, I instructed the vampires. We can't, Sam, Nightingale explained. All we can smell is that wretched factory. I smiled. It appeared that their king was indeed quite slippery. Oil. The lock smells of oil. Someone's been keeping it maintained, unlike the rest of the building. Look here. I pointed to the hasp on the door and the frame. You see those small holes? The hasp and the lock have been replaced. Quite recently too, by the looks of it. There's no dirt or moss in the holes. I think your king has been using this building. Very good, Sam. I felt like I was a puppy being praised for not crapping on the carpet. But sucked up any feelings of inferiority. This was not the time or place. We need to see inside, Nightingale continued. Marcus, if you do the honours. The old vampire wrapped his fingers around the old lock and, in one sharp twist, wrenched it and the hasp free from the rotten woodwork. Impressive, I whispered. He shrugged and pushed the door inwards as I took out my penlight. The inside of the shed was sparse but neat. It was free of rubbish and refuse. There was the occasional daubing of graffiti, but other than that, no other vandalism. What there was, however, was a kit bag. It certainly appeared that someone was using this as a place to hide. Nightingale investigated the bag as Marcus kept watch at the door. You think it's his? I asked over her shoulder, my penlight skimming over the few contents, a compass, a penknife, and 3 cardboard boxes. She pried one of the boxes open, and there was a tinkling of metal cascading onto stone. We bent down to see numerous bullets on the floor. Oh yes, she said, this is his. I recognise these cartridges. They're not what a modern gun would use. We stood up as there was nothing else to see. The king was obviously travelling light. Dusting ourselves off, we exited the hideout. None of us heard him strike. If I hadn't been defecating in my underwear, I would have been seriously impressed. He'd been up on the roof all the time, lying in wait for us. The impetuous tigress had been right. He had known that we would come for him. Justice had cannily chosen an out-of-the-way location where a convenient, foul-smelling factory had masked his own personal scent, giving him the advantage that every well-trained predator seeks. Marcus was the first to fall as the silent shadow lanced from the rooftop. Justice slammed onto the other vampire and smacked his head down into the tarmac, leaving Nightingale's companion out for the count. Having dispatched the first credible threat, he spun around to confront the second, Nightingale. "Wait!" she shouted, but a message of "we come in peace" never made it out past her lips, as the king flipped over behind her, grabbed her by the scruff of the neck, and lobbed her violently in the direction of the aqueduct. I looked desperately down the cycle path. Nightingale sprang lively back up to her feet and made to leap up into the air. There was a blur from Justice and a deafening crack. Tissue erupted from Nightingale's left shoulder, and she somersaulted over, landing heavily on her head. There was no movement from the fallen figure. Justice turned to face me, his powerful six-shooter still smoking. You're supposed to be able to watch your entire life in full panoramic vision with Dolby Stereo sound as you're about to die. I didn't even get the time for a teaser trailer where I was played by Ryan Reynolds. Or is it Gosling? I always get those two messed up. Yeah. The Blade Runner one. That's right. Gosling. Not Deadpool. As I found myself lifted up off my feet. It was at this time that I got my first real look at the king in hiding. He was as Tommy had described, tall and hooded. In the garish artificial light of the streetlights, I saw a pair of pale eyes studying me from atop a nose and mouth wrapped in a bandana to protect them from the stench of melted acrylic. Not that my senses were fully focused on looking anywhere in the moment. They were far too busy shrieking in horror at the pressing force of a very large revolver being thrust up into my sternum and whimpering inconsolably at the loud click of a hammer being snapped back in readiness to make me a duplicate of the unfortunate Tony. Hope you like that. Again, please, quick like, quick subscribe. It'd be fantastic. There's links down below for my website, aschambers.co.uk. Pop over there if you like the books. See if anything else grabs you. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.